Pakistan have finally shown the world why they are top contenders this World Cup and why everyone had them in their top four, because they have successfully chased the highest target in a World Cup. Sri Lanka didn't know what hit them, but what hit them was Rizwan and Abdullah's hundreds. Rizwan 134 not out, Abdullah Shafique 113. And nothing really to speak about the Sri Lankan bowlers, because it was just big heavy hitting by Pakistan. We are back at Cricbuzz Live and I have Parthiv and Joyda with me. Unfortunately, Parthiv, prediction time didn't go very well for you. You got the prediction, so we have to clap for you first because you got predictions in the power play.
Yeah.
But the bigger picture of the 65-35 didn't go your way. It was one of the best chases
It
you've
was
seen.
still better than 80-20. I had given them 35%. But yeah, I mean, that's something which you spoke about in the mid-show as well, that whatever practice games been played here in Hyderabad, this 334 has been chased down by New Zealand against Pakistan. But yeah, I mean, you got to give credit to first of all Abdullah Shafique, making your World Cup debut and score 100 like this, and you're coming in place of someone who's very experienced in Fakhar Zaman, so you got to give credit to him. They paced their innings really well, and we said 48 in first 10 overs. If you were trying to see whether what kind of approach they will go with. And that's exactly what they did. They kept wickets in hand, and the run rate kept on increasing from 4.8 to 6.2 to 7.2 to 8.9 to 9.24. That's something that happens when you have wickets in hand, and that's the traditional approach which Pakistan used it. And Rizwan was being Rizwan, played brilliantly, played spinners so well, and Pakistan deserved to win today.
Joyda, Harsha asked for a thriller, which is what he asked for. It wasn't exactly a thriller, but it was a very, very good chase, very clinical.
It was a clinical chase. This wasn't a thriller. This was a police procedural. So you know that if they do all the right steps, finally they'll arrive at the conclusion. They did that. What I was looking for, if you saw a lot of, I was just looking, I just wanted to check who Sri Lanka's bowling coach was, because their team has just given away more than 750 runs in 2 matches.
In 2 days.
Yeah.
750 runs. There are people who don't give it over a World Cup. There are times that entire World Cup tournament, you don't give away that many runs. They've given away that many runs. And that bowling attack, unfortunately, for Hasaranga's absence, but it is looking absolutely toothless. And even bowlers who performed really well, like Tikshana and Patirana, promising bowlers, I mean, today their attack was in tatters. There was no rhythm to it. There was no strategy to it. It just looked a mess, an absolute mess. After a total of 345, you expected much more from the Sri Lankans. And of course, their head coach happens to be a bowler. I mean, Chris Silverwood was a bowling coach for England.
Well, we'll get to the Sri Lankan bowling because, like you said, 750
runs
runs in 2 games that they've given. So we'll have to have a longer discussion with the Sri Lankan bowling. But we have to go to Pakistan's Mr. Dependable Rizwan. We spoke about him in the pre-match as well. And he is somebody who was quietly, like we said, the hero today didn't perform, but the supporting actor became the hero by the end of the game.
And he's been performing really well in the last year or so in all the formats, whether you're talking about one-day cricket, T20 or a test cricket. I think in the strike rate of 108, again, he paced his inning really well. I thought I was quite impressed the way, he played spinners, especially Velelage. And when a batter like Rizwan or any batter who actually hits you over cover, and if he hits you sweep, then it becomes very, very difficult to bowl to them. And Rizwan is someone, he uses his crease, not just stepping out, but he uses the box really well. He goes really deep into crease and plays those cut shot really well as well. So I think, for me, I thought, Rizwan is someone who's, when you're looking at a complete middle order batter, I think Rizwan is your guy, whether he'll come in and hit you one boundary here and there and then keeps rotating the strike. He'll keep that energy going, he'll keep that bit of a drama going as well. So, that's something you need in middle overs, and that's exactly what Rizwan did. But, to finish up the game and staying not out, that is a bigger thing. That's something which Virat Kohli has done it years and years. But I think, as there is no better feeling than, scoring 100 and scoring a winning runs, going not out. I think, Rizwan would be really happy tonight.
Joyda, like Parthiv was saying, it was a complete ODI innings. He's used the crease so well. He's hit it over covers, hit those sweeps. Everything looked so beautiful towards the end. We could see him cramping and really struggling. In spite of that, stood there like a soldier and got the team home.
No, absolutely. He stood there like a soldier. And the important thing about it is the fact that in the beginning, when Abdullah Shafique was going, he was not the primary partner. He was just giving him strike. And what he does very well, and I think that's what Parthiv has picked up on, that middle overs, that 176 or 156, the early partnership, you see, it's still dominated. The strike rate, everything is dominated by Abdullah Shafique. Once he goes, Rizwan sort of takes over, and what he's done very well is milk the spinners, absolutely not allowed them to settle, and it hasn't hurt after that, what has happened. And again, see the partnership again with Shakil, solid partnership. Shakil was also, in the beginning, he's a finesse player, again, places the ball, doesn't hit the ball hard. By the time Iftikhar comes, he can give it the real whack, and they were ready to finish it there. So what had we said? That if they reach 180, 190, that range in 30 overs, then they'll treat it like a 20-over match and finish it. And that's exactly what they did. And what they did very well is, imagine 11 balls to spare or 10 balls to spare, you finish it off. So I think it's a textbook chase. And had Pakistan lost this match, it would have been a very difficult tournament for them. Because, you don't expect to lose against Sri Lanka. Now that they've won it and won it after chasing 345 up, they're going to go reach Ahmedabad with their tails up.
Well, there's someone who came in as a replacement today to Fakhar Zaman. He's only 5 ODIs old, his first debut World Cup, and he comes and plays like he's been around forever.
Yeah, he did. I thought, he paced his inning really well. Again, if you look at the strike rate is 109, but, he took his time. And Sri Lankan bowlers were bowling actually well in first 10 overs.
First turn of 12 overs.
Yeah, so they were in their length. We saw, Shanaka beating Abdul Shafique's bat quite a few times. But you got to give credit to him, the way he paced his inning, the way those runs in domestic cricket actually helps. When you have so many runs behind you, you know how to construct an inning. Yes, it is a step up. Yes, it is a World Cup. It is more pressure. But you know how to score those runs. And that experience actually came in handy for Abdullah Shafique. But I think the way, again, same kind of a spinner. He played spinner really well. I thought his hooking was brilliant, and the way he handled the pressure, it's not easy to, and mind you, it was a full crowd there, and it was houseful today. But all credit to him. I think that's something that means that, he has shut the door. I mean, you can't say that you can't shut the door on anyone. But yeah, I mean, for this World Cup, that's something, the aggressive decision which Pakistan has taken today, that's paid off for them.
You picked him. You started. You picked him.
After
you picked him, you know that there was nowhere to go.
I mean, see, that's what I was thinking. You had to be proactive. You had to be aggressive in your thinking, and I thought Pakistan was there. Babar Azam is not an aggressive captain. He's every time we've seen them over the time that every time when you go on a back foot, Babar Azam takes a defensive option. But today I don't know whose decision it was, but I thought it was a bang-on decision as far as I'm concerned.
PP's new name is the perfect predictor because every day he has a new name, but he's been the perfect predictor because he predicted a lot. But again, you didn't really pick Abdullah Shafique in your
I thought
11, but he's impressed you, I'm sure. With
I changed my mind the moment I heard him. I said, let's listen to this guy. He's talking sense. But that's the kind of guy you need. I mean, look, I think that's what they've done very well. And what Pakistan have done is that also with Rizwan playing the way he has, what every team will now look out to see is that, because see what happened, Pathirana did not bowl well.
Yeah.
Moment that happened, it was on the spinners. Okay. Once Rizwan started going against the spinners, they had no defense against him because he was, as I said, he could hit them over the off, he could sweep them, he could cut them well. So they didn't know where to pitch the ball. They were stuck. They didn't know what lengths to bowl. He played them off their lengths, literally played them off their lengths. And that now he's going to take that confidence to the next few matches. Now you've got 3-4 batsmen who've got runs.
Yes.
And you begin to think that Babar Azam is going to get runs sooner or later. So after that, it looked like a very different side. Had they lost today, this would have been a very different side.
Joyda, you said that Chris Silverwood has a lot to think about. So let's have a look at the bowling card because 750 runs in 2 games is not something any coach would want to see. We spoke about how Pathirana has not been impressive today. Yes, he's very young. Yes, it's his first World Cup, but a lot of pressure pinned on his shoulders and he's not been able to perform.
Yeah, I think he's had 2 below par games. In last game against South Africa, he had considered 92 runs. Today, 9 overs, he has considered 90 runs. That's something I think he'll go back and decide, because there have been a lot of, there are a couple of balls which were, very something which even wicketkeeper couldn't stop it. So that's something, the consistency has been, his concern. But yeah, I think, Sri Lanka will have to go back and decide and probably think what kind of bowling attack they want to go with. Whether they want to go with that attacking options or they want to go with defensive. If you look at their bowling attack, the bowlers which they have, they've got Tikshana, Madhushanaka and Pathirana. After that, you do not have any bowler who can get you wickets. So that is the reason why they've been conceding runs. So probably Sri Lanka will have to think about their bowling, because 2 games in a row, I think it should ring a lot of alarms in Sri Lanka's dressing room.
Joyda, the big T factor that we spoke about in the pre-match show, we thought that will add that power. He came and opened the bowling, Tikshana, but he just didn't look quite himself.
Yeah.
He was bowling much quicker. His length was all over the place.
I felt his first 3 overs were decent, because he bowled there and he kept the runs down. And if you remember that stage, they got Babar Azam's wicket, 2 wickets down. It looked as if, they were on the ascendant. But that's the problem. They had no other bowler to keep applying the pressure. So they played at 5.5 and over, played their way out of the situation, and then after that got a bit of confidence, then went at 6, 7 and over. So that's a problem, that once that early pressure of wickets was gone, there was no bowler there who could stop the run rate, because how do you put pressure? You either take wickets or you sort of stop the run rate for 3-4 overs, so the batsmen are forced to make strokes. And they were never under that kind of pressure, and that's something they really worry about, because even Pathirana, because also it tells you one more thing, it tells you how well, say, somebody like an MS Dhoni, plays with these people. And even Parthiv was talking about it, that very often it's so important to have somebody who understands you, continuously talking to you, guiding you, saying it's okay, don't worry. Somewhere I felt Pathirana as a youngster was lost today. And you can't blame him. He's also a kid, but big match, going for 90 in 2 matches, I mean, he'd really look at that and wonder what he needs to do next.
Well, even Anton Rooks, their fielding coach, is not going to be a happy man today, because they've dropped quite a few catches. They were very sloppy in the field. And coming into a big tournament, this is not something you can expect, because you've trained so hard for it, Parthiv.
Yeah, I think it felt like they suddenly lost their way. I mean, it looked like they were right in the game, and they did apply that pressure, but they couldn't apply it for a longer time. And one more thing, I mean, the way they got Dasun took that catch of Abdullah Shafique.
Yeah.
I think that was a one piece of brilliance. That was the only thing which we can talk about. Otherwise, Sri Lanka was not right up there as far as their fielding is concerned. There were quite a few drop catches. There were a few run-out opportunities which they missed. There were a lot of easy singles to be taken from circle. So yeah, see, when you score 344 and you lose a game, that means that you've not bowled well. And either you have not bowled well or either you have not fielded well. And Sri Lanka has done both not well. So I think that is the reason why you find your team in that position, that runs been chased down almost 2 hours to spare.
I'm just going to be a little more harsh here. Yes, they have not bowled well. Yes, they have not fielded well. But Joyda, do you feel that they were probably 25 runs short, considering that last 6 overs they should have gone and gotten 20 runs?
Absolutely, definitely. I mean, definitely they didn't. We talked about it. The last 3 overs, 4 overs, 5 overs, they got about 29 runs. They should have done better than that, and I think that's what they allowed themselves. They played themselves. Kushal Mendes played them into a wonderful situation. Samara Vikrama added to that. They just didn't have the final burst, but they must have been looking at it and thinking 345 is enough. Yep. And the truth is, I think that is the one thing in our heads we'll have to do a reset of, saying that these 320, 315 totals that we think are enough against good sides, they may not be enough. B is that at 11 to 40, defending 11 to 40 against good teams is going to get more and more difficult, especially teams who play well, have good wrists and can sort of manipulate the field. It's going to get more and more difficult to defend against them in those middle 30 overs.
Well, Parthiv, going back to the drawing board for Sri Lanka, you think they have a lot? I mean, yes, there is the fielding, yes, there is the bowling, but where, like in the camp, where do you start?
Why do you always put me on a spot like this?
You have all the answers.
I can dial Silverwood sir and give it to you.
Arey, you have all the answers, that's why.
But see, honestly, their batting has been fine. I mean, 326 in first game, 344 in second game. Yes, we can talk about those, they didn't get that, the momentum in last 5 overs, which we talked about. But see, you basically they'll have to go back to being a discipline on the ground. They need to show that discipline. There are a lot of drop catches. There were a lot of misfielding. There were quite a few wide which has gone for 5 runs. So they lacked discipline in their bowling and fielding. So I think that's something which they'll have to do. You cannot just add anyone's skill right now. Whatever skill they have, you cannot just add it overnight. What you can do is, whatever skill you have, try and make sure that you prolong it for as long as possible. Do not succumb to pressure. And at this point of time, they are actually coming under pressure and making those silly mistakes. So what they will have to do, go back and think that let's minimize the mistakes as much as possible and try and see where we find ourselves in our bowling and fielding department.
See, when you are put under pressure, you just give the best answers. That's why we do this to you, because you get the best answers when you're under pressure. He knows how to play under pressure.
I've recorded it, don't worry. This is going to
Hyderabad. Yes, it's going there. Well, let's have a look at the points table now, because, Pakistan's done it again. It's 8-0 now. Sri Lanka have not been able to beat them. Pakistan go up to number 2. And they have won both their games. Joyda, this win is a very important win, not only because they've got their second win, but the next match is it's like the biggest match of the World Cup. They play India, so they'll be going in with this confidence which they were looking for.
Absolutely. One is the confidence of going in against India with a big win, the largest ever run chase. And this is, remember, this is not a run chase against Netherlands. So, with all due respect, this is Sri Lanka, who is a World Cup champion in its own right, has been a World Cup champion, has been an Asia Cup finalist. So it's not a small side. So that win will give them confidence. Secondly, had they lost a game against Sri Lanka, the situation is such that if you start dropping matches against teams like Sri Lanka or Bangladesh, then you're in trouble to get into the top 4. So by winning this, they've kept their slate clean, and that's important for them as a chance for the top 4. Because remember, your chance of getting in the top 4 is only 40%. I mean, 6 teams are not going to make it. So I think it's important that all the wins against the teams that seem to be ranked between 5, 6, 7, 8, you have to beat them if you want to be in that top 4.
Well, there was too much maths for me to understand, because I don't even understand so much maths. So let's quickly head to the preview and see what we have happening tomorrow. Well, India take on Afghanistan, match number 9 in Delhi, and when it's an India game, the excitement is always multiplied into 100. And Afghanistan coming into the match with not so much confidence. Their last match against Bangladesh didn't go very well. The batting collapsed against the spin attack of Bangladesh. India, of course, coming in through that emphatic win that we had over Australia, thanks to the king himself and KL Rahul. So India will be in a good position. We'll have a look at India's squad whenever it's ready. But again, that whole question mark of Shubman, I think he's ruled out for tomorrow. So it's an obvious choice. Do you all see Ishan coming in to open?
For me, Ishan has to, because what India did, one of the reasons they kept that was there was one other option, that you get Rahul into bat there, and then you shift down the order and you make sure Suryakumar Yadav comes in. But what would have then happened is everyone would have been playing one position out of place. And I think what was the important thing for India is that they had a plan. They want the continuity in the plan. How do you make continuity in the plan? You make just one change. So one player goes out, you swap that player, no other position changes. And I think what India is looking for is to play with continuity. The question there is, are they going to play in this pitch? Are they going to play 3 spinners? Is it the same lineup? Does Shardul get a chance because it's a smallish ground? That is perhaps the one question that you would ask yourself.
Yeah, I mean, that's something which obviously the Indian team, which has shown in last year or so or last 6 months, is consistency of a player and the decisiveness of what kind of squad they want to go with, what kind of 11 they want to go with. One is the opener, they were sure about their opener, they were sure about their number 5, 6, whether, the replacement thing. And
a number 4.
And a number 4.
He quietly just didn't say number 4.
And number 8 also. They always wanted someone who can bat at number 8. So I think that surety was seen and they were very vocal about it. So I don't see anyone else opening tomorrow than Ishan Kishan. He got a first ball duck, but that can happen to anyone. He has performed really well. He has taken his opportunities in last 3-4 months wherever he has batted. So I don't see any problem in going with Ishan. Though when you had suggested Rahul, couple of shows back, I had another left field thinking. I was thinking of Virat Kohli and Rohit to open, and then Surya Kumar Yadav can come in. But that was just a thought. But
Just a thought.
just
But
a thought.
everyone's listening to his thoughts very carefully. I might tell you that, like Pakistan did today, and they were successful.
So now the next message, the voicemail has to go to
going.
No,
It's
no, no,
being
that is,
recorded,
no, no,
Parthiv.
that is not happening. I don't think that is happening.
No,
at
but do you
Shardul.
see Shami coming in instead of Shardul? He's got a hat-trick against Afghanistan last World Cup.
Yeah, he did, but I don't think if India is looking for a third seamer, I don't see Shami coming in. I don't think India has ever given that kind of signal that they want to go with three out and out seamers and bat someone like a Kuldeep or Shami or maybe Bumrah as bat at number 8. So I don't see that. If India is looking to get a seamer in, then it'll be Shardul for sure. But having said that, I think Ashwin bowled well against Australia, though he got only 1 wicket. And looking at Afghanistan's batting lineup, also they fell to Sri Lanka's finger spinners, right? So I mean, Bangladesh's finger spinners, sorry. So I know that's something probably India might be thinking maybe a bit of a continuity. I don't know. I mean, that's a tricky one. It all depends on the kind of pitch they see tomorrow. But if there is an option, it'll be Ashwin/Shardul.
All right, let's have a look at Afghanistan squad, and we have a lot to talk about their squad because unfortunately, besides Farooqi, no one really stood out for them in the last match. Their big star player Rashid Khan has gone wicketless in 3 games. So, a lot of concerns for Afghanistan. Joyda, where do you see, what kind of 11 do you see them going with?
Look, the only change they could possibly make is if the problem is that they get bowling up front from Mujibur Rahman. So, I mean, their only choice is to get in. See, you cannot replace Rashid because though he's not getting wickets, he's a star player for you. Okay, Mohammad Nabi bats a lot as well, so that you can't replace him. So, the only player is if Mujib gives way to Noor Ahmed, but Noor Ahmed is not used to using the ball up front. They use Mujib in, just like Thikshana, they use Mujib in the early overs as well. So, that's the one thing. They have a good spinner, Noor Ahmed, but I don't see a way they can move him into the 11. Otherwise, the rest of the team picks itself. It's nobody is sitting on that bench there who's substantially better or can perform better than somebody out here. I mean, Zadran's, it is really important for them that Cricbuzz gets going because I think he is the key for them in terms of the kind of strike rate he can give you, the kind of start he can give you. They need their top 3 to fire because this is a very top 3 driven team. If they fire, these guys they'll get that 200, 250 because this is not also a 350, 400 team. That's not, they don't have that kind of batting power. But if they get 250, 300 and they're batting first, then they have spinners who might just do better. Having said that, I feel they are better. They're a much better T20 team than they're a one-day team. But, they'll have to just do their best.
Parthiv, considering you've been the predictor of the day yesterday, today, day before yesterday, please pick your players for tomorrow.
I like Noor Ahmed a lot. Yes. I don't mind seeing Noor Ahmed in place of Mujib and try and get first few overs from Fazal Farooqi and Navinul Haq. So I think if they can do that, then Noor Ahmed can come into play. Rashid can come into play after that. But yeah, I mean, I totally agree with Joyda where he said that they're a very good T20 side. The reason is that a lot of their players play that T20 leagues all across the world, T20s and T10s also. So for them, it is important once someone gets start to think of getting 100, not just that 40, 50 or 60. Once you put runs on the board, then you can put side under pressure. I know they'll be due or anything, but if Afghanistan wins the toss, they should be thinking of batting first and then make sure that if they get about 270, 280, then a couple of wickets here and there, and then you can put sides under pressure. I think that should be their game plan going into the game against side like India. But I think it's going to be a difficult game for Afghanistan. We saw 428 being scored against Sri Lanka, and India, there'll be a lot of hungry batters coming, and Rohit Sharma, Ishan Kishan.
So one player each then. Who's it going to be?
Mine is tomorrow. It's Rohit Sharma.
And from Afghanistan?
From Afghanistan, Fazal Farooqi.
All right.
I would have gone with Rohit as well, but since he's chosen somebody, I'm going to go with Shreyas. I think Shreyas is against bowling attacks which are not the greatest. I think Shreyas is a destroyer. He can destroy you, and I think he's definitely a player. And the other side, I'll just go with Nabi because I think he's an extremely experienced veteran and he has a chance of giving you something both with the bat and with the ball. So I'll go with Nabi.
Well, no one's picked Naveen and Virat. I'm all excited for the prize tomorrow. I'm very excited for it. No one's picked them. That's all for the preview right now. But let's have a look at the summary of the England game, because England have announced victory all over. They won by 137 runs. David Malan got that 140, and Reece Topley toppled them over for 43. So a comprehensive win for England there. This is the side which we expect to be playing the kind of cricket they are playing now.
Yeah. Like you remember now, when you used to have problems before on the internet, or you had problems on the phone, they'd say normal service will be resumed
Yes.
soon. So normal service has been resumed. This is the England side we know. Devastating top order batting and bowling with a little bit of bite. And I think the difference is Reece Topley. Reece Topley's come in and really given them something. And now I think, given the kind of way he's bowling and the support that he's got, that even Chris Fox has looked better with Reece Topley bowling along with him, I think that's going to make a huge difference. Now for Moeen to come back, except on pitches, unless they're playing somewhere in Chennai where the ball is really turning, I think Reece Topley has made a difference to this side.
Yeah, Reece Topley. Even if they'll want to get Moeen in, then another question is about Sam Curran also. They can get Moeen in place of Sam Curran, but yeah, I don't see Reece Topley, getting out of the team now. But having said that, England were very well on course to get 400, so they would be thinking that there has been a batting collapse in both the games. One again New Zealand and here as well. So that's something they would be thinking in back of their mind, that we've not been able to capitalize on starts which they've got.
Well, in 2019, Moeen was dropped and Wood and Plunkett were picked, and that's when England's campaign took off. So maybe not a bad idea to drop Moeen again, because it looks like England's campaign is taking off. Now what has to take off is the answer to Mr. Joy Bhattacharya's question, and he's going to do the needful. So please, it's all yours.
And I'll take it because it's an unusual stat that McCullum and AB of South Africa shared in World Cup cricket, and that is, in a single tournament, both have got 4 ducks. And they're the only players in the history of the tournament who've got 4 ducks in a single tournament. Both of them got it in, of course, 2007 tournament. The only difference is that McCullum ended up making 35 runs. In the remaining innings that he played, David de Villiers made 372 runs, got a century and got 350s as well. So, in his defense, when he got going, he really got going. But 4 ducks and 6 absolutely fantastic innings. But that's David de Villiers.
See, in our defense, we have no memory of what happened in 2007. So it's fine if we don't know the answer. Correct, because we don't know what happened in the 2007.
Where was it? I was not part of that squad. Don't look at me like that. I know that question. Looking at your face, you are. I was not part of that squad.
I'm sure
he's just disowning all responsibility. What is it? And most Indians don't want to remember 2007.
Yes.
Was there a World Cup in 2007?
No, there was
T20 World Cup tha na South
Africa.
World Cup
there
was only
T20 World Cup. But there's somebody who knows the answer, because there are Joy Bhattacharya fans in Cricbuzz.
Parth Patel is. He's a veteran. He's one of those people, if you have a Joy Factor Hall of Fame, his name will be up there.
Well done, Parth. You get 2 thumbs up from me and that 1 from Joy Bhattacharya in the photo.
I feel like that country club advertisement.
Is he the only one who gives you that right answer?
No, they play.
No, there are a whole lot of...
What is so amazing is, whatever the match is, however tough I've done it, in these 5 years, 1 question has not been answered. That's it. Otherwise,
I think it's just us in the Cricbuzz studios who have no answer to his question.
For last, we couldn't even understand the question. Yes. Forget the answering it. We were just thinking what.
All right, guys. It's always a lot of fun when I sit with first benchers. So thank you so much for making it so much fun today. Thank you, Parthiv, who's the predictor of the season. Thank you, Joyda. Always a lot of fun. I won't be seeing you all tomorrow because I'm going to be watching all the fun and the spice. Like I said, it's India versus Afghanistan, Virat versus Naveen. I'm going to be sitting at home and watching this, but I'll be watching Cricbuzz live. So hope to see you all at 1:30 tomorrow. That's all for now. Good night and goodbye.